Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, oh child, let me tell you something straight from the marrow of truth. Something stitched with the golden thread of endurance and kissed by the breath of the Almighty. Don't you dare give up. Don't you fold your hands and close your eyes to the sun because a storm passed through your morning. Don't you hang your head like you have no place to be, no name to answer to, no story left to live. No, beloved, God is still writing your story. Now hear me, dear heart, for this is the truth dressed in simplicity. Your story is not over. I know you've sat in rooms filled with silence so loud it made your soul tremble. I know you've stared at ceilings at night wondering if all the pieces of your life were ever meant to fit. You've wept until your pillow could hold no more. And still morning came like an unwanted guest. But let me tell you with the fullness of my being, God has not placed a period where he intended a comma. Your story, precious one, is not over. Not yet. Not by a long shot. We, the weary and worn, too often try to end the tale before the ink has dried. We look at our mistakes and think they are our definition. We sit in shame like it's a throne built for us. We say, this is it, there's nothing more. When heaven is shouting, keep turning the page. Baby, what you call the end, God calls the middle. What you see as failure, he sees as fertilizer, rich soil from which something divine is about to grow. You see, stories worth telling are not born from ease. No, ma'am. They are carved from struggle, sewn together by threads of pain and sealed by grace. Don't you ever believe that silence means abandonment? Don't think the dark means defeat. God, that masterful author, writes in seasons, and even when you can't feel his pen, he is still shaping your chapters. Sometimes we get so tangled in the single paragraph that we forget there's a whole book yet to unfold. Yes, there are chapters that feel like sorrow dressed in shadows, chapters that make you question your worth, your purpose, your very breath. But don't you close the book. Don't you dare. Because there is more, so much more, and it is coming with the rhythm of glory and the music of mercy. You, my darling, are still becoming. You are still unfolding. You are still wrapped in the grace of a God who does not discard what is unfinished. He is the one who speaks light into chaos and breath into dry bones. He is the one who gives meaning to every line, no matter how crooked or unclear. He is the one who takes your broken sentences and turns them into poetry. So the next time you feel like giving up, like laying your head down in the dust of despair, remember that God is not done. The author is still at work. The plot has not unraveled, the ink has not run out, and the pen has not fallen from his hand. You may not know what's next, but he does. And he's already written it with the kind of love that bends time and the kind of power that raises dead things. You are not a mistake. You are not forgotten. You are a living testimony that survival is sacred and your breath is evidence that hope is alive. Keep walking even if your steps are slow and your eyes are full of tears. Keep living even if the pain is real and the answers are few. Keep believing because, baby, the next chapter might just be the one where everything changes. And when it comes, when the breakthrough breaks through, you'll look back on this part, the hurting part, the waiting part, and see it for what it was, the place where God was holding your hand beneath the silence, guiding the pen with invisible hands and writing a story only heaven could create. We are told in whispers and in Sunday sermons that God makes beauty from ashes. But what they don't always say out loud is that he does not wait for the ashes to be swept away before he begins his work. No, baby. God works in the dust. He works in the debris of our disappointments, the scattered bones of our heartbreaks, the crumbled walls of our bad decisions. He does not need perfection to begin. In fact, he specializes in the broken. Some folks may look at you and only see the mess. They see your failings like stains that can't be washed out, but child, the Lord sees a canvas, a masterpiece in progress. And while the world may throw stones or point fingers, God kneels beside you and starts piecing together what others would throw away. He lifts your chin, not to shame you, but to show you you are still his. Still worthy, still chosen even with your cracks, even with your past, even in your worst moment. You see, grace doesn't ask for a resume. It don't care about your accolades or your sins. Grace walks in uninvited and takes a seat in the middle of your chaos. It rolls up its sleeves and says, let's get to work. God takes your brokenness and does not discard it. He redeems it. He reshapes it. He repurposes it. Your story, marked by bruises and burdens, becomes the very place where light enters. The very place where someone else will find healing through your truth. And don't let anybody tell you that you have to be polished to be powerful. No, ma'am. Some of the most powerful people I've ever known were the ones who limped into the room, who wore their wounds like war medals and who spoke with a trembling voice, but still spoke. That kind of strength comes only from a God who has held them through the fire and whispered, I'm not done with you yet. Oh, how divine it is to know that nothing in God's hands is wasted. Not a single tear, not a single regret. He collects every piece and says, watch me use this. And he does. He turns mourning into melody, pain into purpose, and shame into testimony. You may think the worst thing you've done has disqualified you from his love. But child, you were never qualified by your goodness to begin with. You were loved before you knew how to love back, chosen before you ever chose him. So if you're sitting there thinking you're too far gone, too shattered to be whole, let me tell you right now, God has done more with less. He has raised kings from shepherds, birthed nations from barren wombs, turned murderers into messengers. So what makes you think he can't work with your little mess? He can, and he will. It might not be pretty at first. Healing never is. But piece by piece, day by day, grace will stitch your soul back together. You'll start to see glimpses of beauty in places you once only saw ruin. And one day, when you least expect it, someone will look at you not with pity, but with wonder, and they'll say, how did you come through it? And you'll smile a smile shaped by survival and say, God never let go of me, not even in the rubble. So hold on, baby. Don't curse the brokenness. It is the soil where grace grows, the place where God begins. You are not disqualified. You are being restored. And when he is through with you, you won't just be whole, you'll be holy. Now, there are some who believe that the valley is punishment, that when life dips low and the sun hides behind heavy clouds, God has turned away his face. But oh, what a sacred lie that is. You see, the valley is not the end. It is the classroom of the soul. It is where your roots dig deep, where your heart learns the shape of strength, and where your faith is no longer a song, but a survival. The valley is not where you are buried, child. It is where you are planted. We all love to speak of mountaintops, where the air is clean and the view is wide. But let me tell you something. Listen close now. The fruit don't grow on the mountaintop. It grows in the valley. That's where the rain falls. That's where the soil is richest, darkest, most alive. That's where God presses his hands into the earth of your being and says, now let's grow. It's in the valley where prayers are raw. Not the fancy ones said out loud, but the ones whispered through clenched teeth and tear-soaked pillows. It's in the valley where praise don't come easy, but it comes real, where you learn to sing even when you're not sure anyone's listening. That's real faith, baby. That's where trust becomes not just a word, but a lifeline. When you've got nothing but his promise, and somehow you keep walking anyway. Don't be fooled by the silence. The valley is full of holy sounds. If you learn how to listen, there is a rhythm in your footsteps, a melody in your tears, a sermon in your stillness. God does not leave you in the valley to forget you. He leads you there to form you, to teach you how to bend without breaking, to show you how to bloom in unlikely soil. And you will bloom, oh, you will. But not like a firework bursting loud and fast. No, your bloom will be slow, steady, and sacred, like a rose that rises even after a harsh winter, like a tree that stretches upward after the storm has bowed it low. And when you bloom in the valley, you carry the memory of every drop of rain, every lonely night, every whispered prayer. You carry your testimony like a crown. You won't forget the pain, but you'll learn to honor it. To say, yes, I walked through the dark, but I came through. Yes, I was wounded, but I healed. Yes, I doubted, but I didn't let go. That kind of strength isn't loud, but it is unshakable. That kind of strength doesn't come from easy living. It comes from the valley. So if you're in the valley right now, don't rush out too soon. Don't despise the quiet, the questions, the slow pace. God is working in the soil. He's not just fixing your circumstances. He's forming your character. He's building something deep in you, something that can hold the blessing when it finally comes. You don't want a shallow root with a tall tree. You want to stand tall and last long. And for that, the valley is necessary. Lift your eyes, child. Even in the lowest place, God is with you. Even in the shadows, his hand is steady. Walk on, weep if you must. Rest when you're weary. But don't you dare mistake the valley for the end. It is simply the chapter before the rise. And oh, when you rise, you'll carry the valley with you, not as a burden, but as a badge. A reminder that growth happened there, that faith lived there, that God met you there and never let you go. Now let me speak plainly in the language of truth, the language your soul already knows. Your story is not meant to mirror anyone else's. No, darling. Your journey was stitched together by divine hands, woven with moments and mercies no one else could wear. You were not called to be a copy. You were crafted to be one of a kind, sacred and singular, with a rhythm and purpose all your own. But oh, how easy it is to look around and see someone else shining, someone else rising, someone else smiling in the sunlight and begin to question your own light. We look at their pages so full and flowing and wonder why our own seem paused, punctuated with silence and struggle. But baby, the worst thing you can do is measure your worth with someone else's ruler. Don't you do it. Don't let the success of another make you doubt the story God is still writing for you. Comparison is a thief. It slips in soft and silent, steals your peace, your praise, your power. It whispers that you're behind, that you missed your moment, that you are not enough. But child, you are never behind. You are on divine time. God does not hurry, and he does not forget. He is not impressed by speed, but by faithfulness. He does not compare his creations. He completes them. Now understand this. Just because their chapter looks joyful doesn't mean yours isn't meaningful. Just because their path is paved smooth doesn't mean your rocky road isn't leading somewhere holy. You may be in a season of waiting, of watering, of wilderness, but even that is sacred. Even that is yours. And God doesn't need to rush you through it just to keep up with someone else's pace. You don't know what it took for them to stand where they stand, and they don't know what God is building in the secret place of your struggle. Let them bloom in their time. You focus on your soil. Tend to your garden. Speak life over your own roots. Trust that your flowers will come, not a minute too late, not a second too soon. There is beauty in your becoming, even if no one claps for it yet. You were not born to impress. You were born to express the glory of a God who paints skies with no two sunsets the same. Your story may unfold quiet, may bloom in private, but when it bursts forth, it will be undeniable. So walk tall in your process. Celebrate others without shrinking yourself. You can honor their light without doubting your own. And when you finally see the fullness of your own journey, you'll realize it had to be this way. The delays, the detours, the moments when you felt invisible, they were not punishments. They were preparation. God was growing something in you that couldn't be rushed. You were not forgotten. You were being fashioned. So lift your head and let that envy fall away like dust in the wind. Look in the mirror and say, this story is mine, and I will live it fully. No comparisons, no competitions, just courage, just grace, just the quiet, powerful unfolding of a life shaped by divine hands. That, beloved, is more than enough. That is holy. That is you. There are days when the sky won't speak. when heaven seems quiet and your prayers float into the silence like unanswered letters, when the road winds on and every step feels like another question with no reply. But oh child, don't you be fooled by the stillness. Don't you let the silence convince you that God has forgotten you. He has not turned his back. He has not closed the book. He's just writing in a language you cannot yet read. You see, delay is not denial. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it never will. God is not governed by the ticking clocks on our walls or the calendars we flip through in frustration. He is not hurried, not rushed, not pressured by the noise of this world. He is the keeper of perfect time, the composer of perfect rhythms, and his pauses are not punishment, they are preparation. Now, I know waiting feels like a weight, like a chain around your hope, pulling it lower with every sunrise. You look to the left and see others moving forward. You glance to the right and see blessings falling like rain on everyone but you. But hear me now, your time is not their time, and their blessings don't cancel yours. The delay you are walking through is not empty. It is holy, sacred. It is the space where God deepens your roots before he grows your branches.
Think of a seed. It don't bloom the moment it's planted. No, it spends time in the dark, buried beneath the soil, hidden from the world. But deep down, out of sight, something holy is happening. It's cracking open. It's growing, and when the time is right, only then it breaks through the surface and reaches for the sun. You, beloved, are that seed. Your delay is not lifeless. It is living. It is sacred time.
There is strength being formed in your silence. There is wisdom being birthed in your waiting. And though it hurts, though it stretches you and humbles you and sometimes breaks you down to your barest self, know this: God is in the waiting. He is there, silent maybe, but not absent, still, but not distant. He's watching over every second, every step, every sigh that escapes your lips. And sometimes it is in the delay that we meet him most honestly. When all our plans fall through and all our timelines crumble, we finally lay down the pen and let him write the story. We stop rushing, we start trusting. And in that surrender, we find peace. Not because everything makes sense, but because we know the one who holds it all together. So don't lose heart. Not now. Don't throw away your faith just because the answer hasn't come yet. The silence is not your ending. It is just a breath between verses, a pause before the music rises again. Trust that God knows what you need, when you need it, and how to bring it forth in a way only he can. And when that day comes, when the delay lifts and the promise arrives, you'll look back and see that every second had a purpose. Every unanswered prayer had a reason. Every tear watered something you couldn't yet see. And you'll know deep in your bones that God was never late. He was just preparing you for more than you asked for, more than you imagined, and exactly what your soul was always meant to carry. Hope is a quiet thing. It does not always shout. It does not always dance. Sometimes hope is just a whisper in the dark. Sometimes it's a soft breath after a long cry, or the strength to lift your head when your heart feels too heavy to carry. But oh, child, it lives. Even when everything around you feels like it's falling apart, hope is there, tucked inside your spirit like a flicker that refuses to go out. You may not feel it right now. You may be walking through days so dry, so long, they feel like deserts with no end. You may be standing in rooms where your name is never spoken, where your work is overlooked, where your kindness goes unseen. You may be aching, wondering if you'll ever be known, ever be healed, ever be whole. But let me tell you what life in God has taught me. As long as you have breath, you have purpose. And as long as you have purpose, hope is still alive. Now, don't mistake hope for ease. Hope is not the absence of pain. It's the refusal to let pain have the final word. Hope is not a denial of reality. It's a decision to believe in a truth greater than what your eyes can see. You can cry and still hope. You can feel afraid and still hope. You can be broken and still dare to believe that God is not through with you yet. Oh, hope is a stubborn thing. It will sit beside you when no one else shows up. It will rise with you when the alarm of sorrow tries to keep you in bed. Hope doesn't need an audience to perform. It sings in the silence, it moves in the stillness, and it grows in the soil of struggle. That's why you can't let it go. That's why you must hold on, even if all you can do is grip it with trembling fingers.
I've seen people lose a lot, child. Jobs, homes, families, dreams.